Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach, and it was a glorious week in the land of Shorty. At least the weekend was. Some really good results. We'll start with the classic, but I did take out the SuperCoach Draft Grand Final, which I was absolutely stoked about. I'll have a look at that in a second, but look at that. Don't you just love when the green just keeps going round and round and just about covers the whole circle? 848 rank. I move up, knocking on the door of the top 25k. As you know, I'm hoping to just get into the top 20,000 to try and salvage something. But that was a really good result. I mean, obviously, one of the best individual week results I've ever had. Laird does what he does. Mills, great. Stewart, great. Whitfield, no, not quite last week, but still solid. Bianco, can someone tell me how Bianco scored 45? Could someone tell me? I haven't looked at his stats. I will now. Now, normally AFL Fantasy is a bit of a guide to what they score. You know, if you don't use the ball well or whatever, you might score less in SuperCoach. 84. 6 clangers must have been it. But 45 and get 2 goals. 9 marks. Anyway, we're not going to spend a week where I scored over 2,700 complaining, because that was about the only thing that went wrong. And this midfield continues to lead the charge for my resurgence for this team. It was 158 Jack Steele, 141 Sam Walsh, 131 Jack McRae, 132 Tom Mitchell, Clary, just clinical, 166, and Petrarca wasn't far off. Heppel's doing really nice stuff. And Josh Kelly, probably, I know he was flying after initial poor start. His last little period maybe just hasn't been his absolute best, but still good. The ruck's doing what they do. Even Reeves had a nice one. And the forward line, which has been a headache of mine, or Marshall coming in, was outstanding. Hall's been a great change in role for him. Zeeble, really good again. Dale was outstanding, intercepting and running and gunning. Sidebottom looks to have been a real benefactor for Pendlebury's absence, and Dangerfield, wasn't his best ever game, but, it's far from a poor one. So, yeah, that was that, and really stoked with that. I mean, I'm out of trades. I'm hoping that a little bit of luck can come my way in terms of just maybe the odd good score with these rookies. But I'll transfer into draft because I wanted to, that was the highlight for me. You guys know I mentioned a little bit, and to score what was an amazing score in the grand final. I mean, everything that I sort of touched turned to gold in the end. The sort of stuff that if I was on the other end of it, I'd be spewing. But to have your team that was, top 2 for most of the year, to have it perform at its peak in the grand final, which, when all is said and done, is pure luck. You just hope that round 20, you have a good year. You have a good week. It's not like a normal grand final where you emotionally get yourself up and players can prepare for a grand final. These blokes are just round 20. You just hope that the stars align, and they aligned all right. Marshall was huge. Walsh was huge. Amazing start to my Friday. Matt Kennedy, I umdenard. I had Wingard, Schonberg, and Kennedy. I wanted to start 2 of the 3, and I picked Wingard and Kennedy. So that was a real nice start. Langer's got off to a pretty nice start as well. I mean, the Shaki call didn't quite work for him, but I saw the thought behind it in terms of the intercepting capabilities, and he took a few intercepts early and had me nervous. Caleb Daniel was great. Joel Selwood, really good. I was umming and ahhing between, will Joel Selwood be fit? Adam Cherrell was on the bench. That would have been a win-win regardless. Simpkin, DeGoey and Adams led the way. Howe came in for his first game for Shorty Superstars for the year. I didn't have him. He was dropped while he was injured, and I picked him up. Nick Nat's been my ruck all year and it's been great. So look at that. And then Oliver. And just tons everywhere. An insane run until Blake Hardwick, didn't quite turn it on. Mitchell and Wingard, the best on the field, just about with O'Meara. And Dawson lit it up. And then it was just, a few blokes ending it not at their absolute best in Hind, Hopper and Cumming, but, weren't far off it either. So, I felt I felt like when Shaki scored what he did, when Yo scored what he did, and then when Lukosius started the Sunday with an average score, because I didn't look at the scores. I got a sense that they were playing well. I was looking at the stats, there's no doubt about that, but the scores, I got a sense that, gee, all these boys are playing pretty well. And I knew a couple of Langers players, but I didn't overdo it because there's nothing worse than barracking against players, particularly good players, that can do your absolute head in. The Grundy versus Nick Nat battle was crucial. I was happy to break even there. And then, Langers had a pretty good Sunday, to be fair. Andrews, Lyons, Mills, Wright was above what I thought. Rioli probably let him down, and Heppel was solid, Dixon solid. And then Tom Green sort of playing a second ruck was kind of bizarre. But, 16.57, it's not... Look, probably 17.50 is about a par score. I think the difference here was just that the top end of Marshall, Walsh, DeGoey, Oliver, Wingard, Mitchell. I think anyone who's played draft before, sometimes it's not always about consistency, but it's about having those guys that tear the week apart and have a massive week. And I was able to have a few of those. So a pretty comprehensive overall victory, but it wasn't without a hell of a lot of stress. It was. I was really pleased to take it out, and I know Langers is, obviously one of my best mates, and I knew it meant a lot to him. And it's sort of a bit funny, when you take someone on like that. In normal circumstances, I would have liked to see him win, if he was up against anyone else, but. Of course, when you're involved, and I won this trophy in 2017, and you can have a look at the trophy in the video me and Langers did just the other day. It's right at the end of the video. I won it in 2017, lost in the prelim 2018, and outscored both grand finalists in that year too. So I knew I was so close. If I just got there, I had a really good week in the grand final week. Lost in the grand final to the bloke who had the best team all year, last year. And I can't remember what happened. There must have been some other year that I just can't recall. But yeah, 2021. I mean, look, when you look at it on the bare numbers there, I mean, I really had a top year. I mean, that's a little out of sorts, that number, because a lot of these guys who weren't in the grand final probably stopped checking their team. Like Ned's 14.43, I'm sure he didn't check it, and that sort of thing. AFL Unlimited, probably the same. So it was much tighter than that for most of the year. But yeah, that's how it sort of turned out. Look at that, 0.4%. Crazy. But, so I was, there's no denying it. I was working yesterday and let out a Leighton Hewitt style come on multiple occasions when I did check the scores, knowing that I'd be in a strong position, but not realising that it was probably already over. I guess it's that nervous energy that you just fear the worst. But a really good week in Classic. Something that I was hoping to achieve from a long way out in draft. So I was absolutely stoked with that. So, yeah. I hope you guys got up in any respective finals you may have had. I think, Shorty's just contending in a lot of lower level kind of operations in his leagues. Obviously that's the only active one in terms of the top 8. Maybe they don't do the bottom 8, do they? I don't know. Once upon a time they used to roll a minor premiership. Maybe not. Maybe I have to dig a bit deeper. But yeah, that's how we went. So let's hope that the good times can keep rolling. And I'll be back soon. Well, looks like it cut me off right in the last couple of seconds. So maybe I could just fork out some coin and actually buy the proper version of Bandicam. But hey, we're not doing that anytime soon, are we? We get cut off at 10 minutes, and not too many of my press conferences. They normally go around the 7 or 8 minute mark, maybe less sometimes. But yeah, can't remember where it exactly cut me off. But have a good week. I'll try and go live at some point. I'll check in with you about that. Potentially Thursday. I'll just have to see. But yeah, have a good week, and I'll chat to you guys soon. Cheers.